The Arctic islands emerge as some of Earth's last untouched frontiers, remote, enigmatic, and shaped by forces that have remained unchanged for millennia. Here, the only sounds are the whisper of the wind and the subtle shifting of ice, echoing across endless expanses where human presence is absent and nature reigns supreme. The landscape is a masterpiece of cold, where sea ice forms a living, shifting mosaic. Each winter, the ocean's surface solidifies into a labyrinth of pressure ridges and leads, while frost crystals and snowflakes create intricate patterns that shimmer in the pale Arctic light. For much of the year, the Arctic Ocean is transformed into a vast frozen desert. Its surface fractures under immense pressure, sending cracks and leads snaking across the ice, while monumental icebergs, sculpted by time and tide, drift silently through the frigid waters. Scattered across this frozen expanse, the islands themselves are formidable outposts. Their coastlines are carved by relentless storms, their cliffs armoured in rime and snow, and their interiors marked by a stark beauty, where only the hardiest forms of life endure. The Arctic landscape is never still. Glaciers, ancient and immense, inch forward with inexorable force, their faces fracturing in thunderous carving events that send shards of ice tumbling into the sea. Each movement reshapes the coastline, revealing secrets locked away for centuries. Each island tells a unique geological story. Svalbard's jagged peaks soar above deep ice-choked fjords, while Iceland's volcanic core breathes beneath a crust of snow and ash. Here, fire and ice coexist, forging landscapes of dramatic contrast and raw power. Life here is a triumph of adaptation. Polar bears traverse the ice in search of elusive seals, while Arctic foxes and ermines prowl for hidden prey. Walruses gather in tight-knit herds on drifting floes, and snowy owls glide silently above the tundra, each species exquisitely attuned to the rhythms of freeze and thaw. Beneath the ice, a hidden world awakens with the return of the sun. Plankton blooms ignite a surge of life, nourishing fish, jellyfish and krill. Arctic cod dart through kelp forests, while amphipods graze on algae clinging to the ice, forming the foundation of a rich and intricate food web. The boundaries between land, sea and ice are in constant flux. Meltwater channels carve intricate paths through the ice, while tidal flats and braided rivers reveal the delicate interplay of elements. Each transition zone supports its own specialized communities, shaped by the ever-changing Arctic environment. Yet this ancient world is undergoing rapid transformation. Rising temperatures accelerate the retreat of glaciers, thinning the sea ice and exposing landscapes unseen for thousands of years. As permafrost thaws, new habitats emerge, and the first pioneers, mosses and lichens, begin to colonize the bare earth. To journey through the Arctic islands is to witness a world of profound resilience and delicate balance. From the silent endurance of musk oxen to the ethereal dance of the aurora borealis, every scene is a testament to nature's ingenuity. Yet this balance is now more fragile than ever, as the Arctic faces a future shaped by forces both ancient and new. The Arctic is a realm defined by extremes, where the tilt of the earth orchestrates a symphony of light and darkness. Here, the passage of time is measured not by days, but by sweeping transitions between months of shadow and months of unyielding sun. During the polar night, the sun remains hidden below the horizon for weeks on end. The landscape is enveloped in a perpetual twilight, where moonbeams and starlight cast a silvery glow across endless fields of snow and ice. Temperatures plummet to astonishing lows, often below -40 degrees Celsius. Relentless winds sweep across the barren expanse, sculpting the snow into sharp ridges and delicate waves, while the sea itself solidifies into a seamless frozen plain. Only the hardiest creatures endure these conditions. Arctic foxes curl tightly to conserve warmth. Musk oxen gather in dense circles, their thick coats shielding them from the wind, while snowy owls and ptarmigans remain motionless, blending seamlessly into the frozen world. Above, the aurora borealis unfurls in silent grandeur, painting the night sky with ribbons of green and violet. These ethereal lights flicker and dance, a fleeting spectacle in the otherwise still and silent darkness. With the gradual return of the sun, the Arctic stirs from its slumber. The ice softens, and meltwater trickles across the tundra, carving intricate channels through the snow. Hardy mosses and lichens revive, their muted greens and reds the first signs of life after months of dormancy. As spring gives way to summer, the sun climbs higher, eventually refusing to set. For weeks, golden light sweeps across the tundra, shrinking shadows to mere slivers and bathing the land in a perpetual gentle glow. The relentless sunlight accelerates the thaw. Sea ice fractures and retreats, revealing open water. Meltwater rivers snake across the ice, pooling in shimmering blue lagoons atop glaciers, transforming the landscape into a patchwork of water and land. Sunlight penetrates the upper layers of the ocean, triggering a surge of microscopic life. Plankton bloom in vast numbers, their presence turning the water a vibrant green and providing the essential foundation for the Arctic's intricate food web. This abundance draws a remarkable migration. Caribou traverse the awakening tundra in great herds. Whales glide through newly opened channels, and millions of birds, some from as far as the southern hemisphere, arrive to nest and raise their young. For a brief window, the Arctic bursts with activity. Walruses crowd onto rocky beaches, seabirds fill the cliffs with their calls, and lemmings scurry through the grass, all driven by the urgency to feed, breed, and prepare for the inevitable return of winter. Newborns emerge into this fleeting season of plenty. Young foxes and hares learn to hunt and forage, reindeer calves graze under the endless sun, and polar bear cubs explore the melting ice, each moment vital for survival before the cold descends once more. As the sun dips lower on the horizon, the warmth fades. Frost creeps silently across the land, and the first snowflakes drift down, signalling the return of darkness. The Arctic braces itself for another long night, and the ancient cycle of seasons begins anew. Svalbard, a remote archipelago just over 1,000 kilometers from the North Pole, stands as a testament to nature's extremes. Here, the land is shaped by relentless cold, shifting ice, and the ever-present interplay of light and shadow. The landscape is a mosaic of towering glaciers, frozen fjords, and vast snow-laden plains, where the silence is broken only by the distant crack of calving ice or the haunting call of Arctic winds. In this stark wilderness, the polar bear reigns supreme. Each bear is a solitary wanderer, navigating a labyrinth of ice flows and snowdrifts, perfectly adapted to a world where survival demands both strength and subtlety. Their presence is both commanding and elusive, a living emblem of the Arctic's raw power. Glaciers dominate Svalbard's terrain, covering 60% of its land mass. These ancient rivers of ice carve deep valleys and sculpt the coastline, their slow movement shaping the very bones of the archipelago. When a glacier calves, the sound reverberates for kilometers, a reminder of the ceaseless transformation at the heart of the Arctic. Across the Arctic, an estimated 25,000 polar bears roam these frozen expanses. Each is finely tuned to the rhythms of ice and season, their lives unfolding in a delicate balance between abundance and scarcity. Cubs learn the art of survival from their mothers, mastering the skills needed to thrive in a world of perpetual winter. The polar bear's fur is a marvel of evolution. Translucent hairs trap sunlight, channeling warmth to the jet-black skin beneath. Each strand is hollow, providing insulation and buoyancy, while a dense undercoat and a thick layer of blubber shield the bear from temperatures that can plunge far below freezing. Whether braving the icy embrace of Arctic waters or enduring the fury of a blizzard, the polar bear's body remains a fortress against the cold. Their fur repels water, and their metabolism burns fat reserves with remarkable efficiency, allowing them to survive long periods without food. The polar bear's sense of smell is legendary. With nostrils attuned to the faintest scent, they can detect a seal's breathing hole from more than a kilometre away, even beneath thick layers of snow and ice. This extraordinary ability is vital in a world where prey is scarce and hidden. Patient and methodical, the polar bear becomes a master of the hunt. Hours, sometimes days, are spent motionless beside a seal's breathing hole, every muscle poised for the split-second opportunity when prey surfaces. Success demands not only patience, but an intimate knowledge of the ice and its secrets. As the relentless summer sun returns, the sea ice recedes, fragmenting the polar bear's hunting grounds. Forced to swim for miles between shrinking floes, they expend precious energy, sometimes scavenging along barren shores for morsels of kelp or the remains of marine life washed ashore. For mothers with cubs, the journey becomes a perilous odyssey. Young bears, still learning the ways of the ice, must navigate treacherous meltwater pools and unstable flows, each step a lesson in caution and resilience. The mother's vigilance is unceasing, her every move calculated to protect her offspring from the dangers that lurk in this shifting world. Every journey across the ice is a test of endurance. The bears must read the subtle cues of wind and current, judge the strength of each flow, and adapt to the ever-changing landscape. A single misstep can mean disaster, yet their agility and instinct guide them through this frozen maze. With each passing year, the ice retreats further, leaving polar bears increasingly isolated on shrinking islands of snow and ice. The vast distances between flows grow ever wider, and the bear's world contracts, their future shadowed by uncertainty. The fate of the polar bear is inseparable from the fate of the ice. As the ancient bond between bear and frozen sea is tested by a warming world, the realm of the ice bear stands at a crossroads, its future written in the shifting patterns of snow, ice, and the enduring spirit of its greatest survivor. As the Arctic sun lingers above the horizon, its warmth gradually erodes the sea ice that once gripped Svalbard's rugged coastline. The landscape, once silent and forbidding, awakens with a surge of life. Melting flows drift gently toward shore, carrying with them the promise of nourishment and shelter for a host of Arctic creatures. On the exposed beaches, Atlantic walruses gather in formidable numbers. These immense mammals, weighing up to 1,500 kilograms, rely on their thick, wrinkled blubber to insulate them from the biting Arctic winds. Their social nature draws them together in dense herds, where the sheer mass of bodies provides both warmth and a formidable defense against polar bears and other predators. Within these bustling gatherings, the bond between mother and calf is vital. Mothers remain ever watchful, shielding their young from the constant jostling of the herd. The calves, still learning to navigate the crowded haul-out, must avoid the powerful tusks and flippers of adults. Each movement is deliberate, as a single misstep could prove fatal in the crush of bodies. Towering above the beaches, the cliffs of Alcefiele rise like ancient fortresses from the sea. These sheer rock faces are transformed each summer into one of the world's most spectacular bird colonies. Nearly 1 million Brunnich's guillemots crowd every available ledge, their black and white forms packed shoulder to shoulder in a living mosaic. The air vibrates with their calls, a constant chorus that echoes across the fjord. The guillemot's nesting ritual is a marvel of precision. Each pair lays a single pear-shaped egg directly on the bare rock, its unique shape preventing it from rolling off the narrow ledge. Parents take turns incubating the egg and guarding it from opportunistic predators such as glaucous gulls and Arctic foxes. The colony's sheer density is its greatest defense. Predators are overwhelmed by the sheer abundance of potential prey. The most perilous moment in a guillemot chick's life arrives when it must leave the safety of the cliff. Guided by the calls of their parents below, the chicks hurl themselves from the ledge, plummeting toward the sea. Their downy bodies absorb the impact, and if they survive the fall, they immediately begin swimming, closely shadowed by vigilant adults. The cold, churning water below offers sanctuary from aerial predators, but new dangers await in the sea. Along these dynamic shores, walruses and seabirds share a fragile coexistence. Walruses, with their lumbering movements, must navigate around nesting birds, while guillemots and other seabirds time their activities to avoid disturbance. Every interaction is shaped by the constant need for vigilance. Predators lurk both above and below, and a single miscalculation can mean the difference between life and death. During the brief Arctic summer, these beaches and cliffs become arenas of intense activity. Walruses haul out to rest and socialize, while seabirds nest, feed, and rear their young in a race against time. The abundance of food, fish, mollusks and crustaceans draws animals from across the region, creating a vibrant, interdependent community. Yet this season of plenty is fleeting. The sun never sets, casting long shadows that sweep across the tundra and cliffs. Every creature is acutely aware that the window for growth and survival is narrow. As the days begin to shorten, the walruses and birds prepare for the return of ice and darkness, their brief time in the sun a testament to the resilience and adaptability required to thrive in nature's frozen frontier. Ellesmere Island, a remote and formidable realm sculpted by relentless winds and sub-zero temperatures, stands as one of Earth's most inhospitable deserts. Here the land is stripped bare by the elements, glaciers carve through ancient rock, and the sun's rays reflect off endless sheets of ice. Only the hardiest of life forms persist, their existence shaped by the unforgiving cold and profound isolation. Arctic wolves, cloaked in dense, insulating fur, are perfectly adapted to this frozen expanse. Their paws, broad and furred, distribute weight across the snow, allowing them to travel vast distances in search of sustenance. Family bonds are the foundation of their survival. Each pack member plays a vital role, from scouting to hunting, ensuring the group's cohesion and strength. Their primary prey, the muskox, is a living testament to endurance. These ancient mammals, survivors from the Pleistocene, are armoured with formidable curved horns and a double-layered coat. Long guard hairs shield a dense underwool, trapping warmth against the bitter wind. Musk oxen graze on the sparse vegetation that lies hidden beneath the snow, using their powerful hooves to dig through the frozen crust. When threatened, musk oxen respond with remarkable coordination. Adults instinctively form a protective ring, their massive bodies facing outward, horns lowered in readiness. Calves are sheltered at the centre, shielded from harm. This ancient defensive strategy, honed over millennia, is a formidable barrier against would-be attackers. The wolves, ever vigilant, circle the herd with silent precision. Their movements are deliberate. Each wolf reads the signals of its packmates, probing for any sign of weakness among the musk oxen. Only the frail, the injured, or the very young are targeted, a natural selection that maintains the health and resilience of the herd. As the relentless winter gives way to the fleeting Arctic summer, the landscape transforms. Wetlands emerge, teeming with migratory birds and new life. The wolves, ever adaptable, shift their focus, hunting birds and small mammals among the moss and shallow pools, their strategies evolving with the changing season. Each confrontation between wolf and muskox is a silent duel of instinct and resolve. The wolves test the herd's defences, while the muskoxen stand their ground, every muscle poised for action. In these moments, the balance of life and death hangs in the frigid air, shaped by ancient instincts and the harsh demands of survival. In this stark wilderness, every footprint is a fleeting record of endurance and adaptation. The wind quickly erases the traces of predator and prey, but the struggle for survival endures, etched into the very fabric of the Arctic. Here, only the most resourceful and resilient can hope to persist, their stories written in the snow and silence. Greenland's immense frozen expanse stretches to the horizon, a realm where survival demands extraordinary adaptations. Hidden within this stark wilderness is a creature whose resilience defies the extremes, the Arctic woolly bear moth caterpillar. This unassuming caterpillar, cloaked in dense, insulating hairs, is a master of endurance. It spends its brief moments of warmth foraging among the sparse vegetation, seeking nourishment in a landscape where life clings to the barest foothold. As the Arctic sun dips below the horizon and winter's grip tightens, temperatures plummet to unimaginable lows. The woolly bear caterpillar ceases all movement, burrowing into the shelter of rocks and moss, surrendering itself to the cold. In a feat unmatched by most living creatures, its body freezes solid. Ice forms within its tissues, yet the caterpillar remains unharmed. Specialized proteins act as a natural antifreeze, preventing lethal ice crystals from damaging its cells. For the majority of the year, the caterpillar exists in a state of suspended animation. Its heart stops, metabolism grinds to a halt, and it waits, motionless, while the world above is sculpted by wind and ice. With the return of the fleeting Arctic summer, warmth seeps into the ground. The caterpillar thaws, reawakening from its icy slumber. It must act quickly, devouring every available morsel to store energy for the next long freeze. This cycle of freezing and revival is repeated year after year. Remarkably, the woolly bear can endure up to 14 Arctic winters before it has gathered enough resources to transform. Only then does it spin a silken cocoon, hidden among the lichen and stone. Inside, it undergoes a final transformation, emerging at last as a moth, fragile, ephemeral, and perfectly adapted to the Arctic's brief summer. The adult moth's existence is measured in days. It must find a mate and lay its eggs before the cold returns, beginning the cycle anew for the next generation of woolly bears. The woolly bear's journey is a saga of patience and adaptation, a testament to the power of nature's ingenuity. In the heart of the Arctic, this tiny survivor endures where few others can, embodying the relentless spirit of life on the frozen frontier. In the remote reaches of the Arctic Circle, Iceland emerges as a dramatic stage for the ongoing battle between the planet's most powerful forces. Here, the relentless grip of ancient glaciers meets the searing energy of the Earth's molten interior. The landscape is a living canvas, painted by the collision of fire and ice, a place where the boundaries between elements blur and transform with every passing moment. Beneath the surface, immense pressure builds until it erupts in spectacular displays of volcanic power. Molten rock bursts forth from beneath thick ice sheets, carving new paths through the frozen landscape. Rivers of incandescent lava wind their way across snowfields, sending up clouds of steam and ash that drift over the silent white expanse. Earthquakes ripple through the ground, fracturing the earth and leaving behind a tapestry of cracks and steaming fissures. The aftermath is a landscape of extraordinary contrasts. Black sand deserts, born from pulverized volcanic rock, stretch alongside vibrant moss-covered lava fields. Geothermal vents punctuate the terrain, exhaling plumes of steam into the frigid Arctic air. Glaciers, ancient and unyielding, carve deep fjords and valleys, their icy tongues sculpting the volcanic bedrock into dramatic forms. Fumaroles hiss among frost-laden stones, while basalt columns rise where lava once met the chill of ice. When volcanic heat penetrates the heart of a glacier, the results are both sudden and profound. Glacial meltwater, unleashed in violent torrents known as Jökullaups, surges through canyons and across volcanic plains. These floods carve new channels in a matter of hours, transporting icebergs and volcanic debris downstream, reshaping the land with astonishing speed and force. Amidst this ever-changing turmoil, pockets of life flourish in unexpected places. Lake Mývatn, nestled among ancient lava flows and volcanic craters, is a sanctuary of biodiversity. Its waters, enriched by minerals from both volcanic eruptions and glacial runoff, support a thriving ecosystem. Geothermal springs bubble at the lake's edge, depositing intricate mineral patterns along the shoreline and creating unique habitats for aquatic life. The air above the lake vibrates with swarms of midges and black flies, their numbers sustained by the nutrient-rich environment. Beneath the surface, schools of Arctic fish dart through crystal-clear waters, feeding on the abundance of aquatic insects and larvae. This intricate web of life is fueled by the unique blend of volcanic minerals and glacial purity, supporting a diversity rarely found in such harsh climates. This abundance draws a remarkable array of bird life. Lake Mývatn is renowned for hosting more duck species than any other site in Europe. Arctic terns, masters of migration, dive for prey in the mineral-rich waters, while colourful waterfowl gather along volcanic shores. Nesting among the lava rocks, these birds find both shelter and sustenance, their presence a testament to the resilience of life in this dynamic environment. Even in the most unforgiving conditions, life persists. Hardy mosses and lichens anchor themselves to cooling lava, extracting nutrients from the bare rock. Wildflowers bloom in the gentle warmth of geothermal springs, their colours vivid against the stark volcanic backdrop. Tiny ferns unfurl in sheltered crevices, and resilient vegetation transforms barren fields into lush oases. Wildlife adapts and thrives, finding opportunity in the interplay of destruction and renewal. In Iceland, the eternal struggle between fire and ice is not merely a spectacle, it is the engine of creation. Each eruption, each flood, each glacial advance leaves its mark, forging a landscape of unparalleled beauty and resilience. Here, destruction and creation are inseparable, and the story of the land is written anew with every meeting of fire and ice. Along Iceland's dramatic, wind-battered coasts, a remarkable spectacle unfolds each spring. Millions of seabirds converge here, but none are more emblematic than the Atlantic puffin. These resilient birds return from months at sea, braving relentless gales and the thunder of crashing waves to reclaim their nesting grounds on the island's sheer volcanic cliffs. Over 60% of the world's puffins select these cliffs as their nursery. They carve deep burrows into the soft, windswept turf, creating a hidden world beneath the grass. Inside, a single precious egg is laid and carefully incubated by both parents. The chick, known as a puffling, remains concealed from aerial predators, relying on the darkness and depth of the burrow for safety until it is strong enough to face the world. Puffins are extraordinary hunters, perfectly adapted for life both above and below the waves. Using their wings as flippers, they propel themselves underwater with astonishing agility, pursuing shoals of sand eels and capelin. Their beaks, which blaze with vivid hues of orange and yellow during the breeding season, serve as both a tool for carrying multiple fish and a vibrant signal in elaborate courtship rituals. In the tranquil embrace of Iceland's fjords, another drama of life unfolds. Harbour seals haul out onto rocky shores, seeking safe haven to give birth. Newborn pups, cloaked in silvery fur, are greeted by the chill of Arctic air and the gentle touch of their mothers. Within hours, these pups take their first tentative swims, instinctively following their mothers as they learn to navigate the frigid, mineral-rich waters. The nursing period is a race against time. Pups feed on their mother's nutrient-rich milk, rapidly building the thick layer of blubber essential for insulation and buoyancy in the icy sea. Mothers remain ever watchful, their senses attuned to the presence of lurking predators, ensuring their young are protected during these vulnerable early days. As the pups grow and are weaned, the focus shifts to the adults. Male seals compete fiercely for breeding rights, their deep vocalizations resonating across the fjord. Physical contests erupt along the shoreline, with males posturing and sparring in displays of strength and stamina, each vying for dominance and the chance to pass on their genes. The cliffs and beaches pulse with life. Puffin colonies erupt in a flurry of synchronized flight, their wings beating in unison as they launch from the rocks. On the shore, seal nurseries are scenes of gentle care and playful exploration, as pups test their skills in shallow tidal pools under the watchful gaze of their mothers. These wild, elemental coasts, sculpted by ancient glaciers and ceaseless tides, are a living testament to the resilience and complexity of Arctic life. Here, every season brings new stories of adaptation, endurance and renewal, as puffins and seals continue their timeless dance with the forces of nature. The Arctic islands reveal a landscape meticulously carved by millennia of relentless ice and shifting seasons. Here, the interplay of light and shadow across ancient glaciers and towering icebergs creates a tapestry of breathtaking contrasts, where every frozen vista tells a story of survival and transformation. In this formidable environment, each species has evolved extraordinary strategies to endure. The polar bear, master of the ice, traverses vast floes in search of seals, while the woolly bear caterpillar survives by freezing solid through the winter, only to thaw and continue its life come spring. The snowy owl, with its ghostly plumage, glides silently over the tundra, hunting with precision, and the Arctic wolf moves with calculated stealth, its survival dependent on the subtle cues of the frozen landscape. The Arctic fox, a master of disguise, shifts its coat from snowy white to mottled brown, blending seamlessly with the changing seasons. Above, the Arctic tern embarks on the longest migration of any animal, linking the polar extremes of the planet. Narwhals, elusive and enigmatic, navigate labyrinthine ice channels, their spiral tusks a symbol of adaptation. Ivory gulls, rare and resilient, perch atop crystalline ice, ever watchful for sustenance in the stark expanse. Yet the Arctic's intricate web of life is increasingly fragile. As temperatures rise, sea ice fractures and recedes, forcing polar bears to traverse ever greater distances in search of prey. Walrus calves cling to their mothers, adrift on shrinking platforms, while ringed seals, vital to the food chain, rest uneasily on fragmented ice, their survival threatened by the vanishing habitat. The Arctic cycles are a silent force, regulating the planet's climate with each breath of icy wind. Sunlight dances across the sea ice, reflecting and refracting in a spectacle of ephemeral beauty. In the brief window of summer, resilient lichens and Arctic flowers burst forth, painting the tundra with colour before retreating beneath the frost. Even the rocks bear witness, adorned with delicate patterns of ice that form and vanish with the shifting weather. When glaciers calve, the thunderous collapse sends ripples through the Arctic waters, altering currents and shaping the marine world. Beneath the ice, seals weave through shifting corridors, their agility a marvel of adaptation. Beluga whales, social and vocal, navigate the labyrinth below, their haunting calls resonating through the frigid depths, connecting distant pods in a world hidden from the sun. Across the tundra, caribou undertake epic migrations, their hooves carving ancient trails through snow and ice. Musk oxen, armoured in dense fur, form tight circles to withstand the fury of Arctic storms. Beneath the snow, lemmings tunnel in secret, their lives unfolding in insulated chambers, while ptarmigans forage quietly, their plumage a perfect shield against the cold. The Arctic's inhabitants face mounting challenges as ancient rhythms are disrupted. A solitary polar bear endures the onslaught of a storm, while walrus herds crowd onto diminishing ice. The Arctic hare, swift and elusive, bounds across drifts, its camouflage a vital defence. Along the lake shores, red-throated loons nest in the brief summer, their haunting calls a reminder of the fleeting warmth. To protect this wilderness is to safeguard a living archive of adaptation and resilience. The snow owl, sentinel of the high Arctic, surveys a domain shaped by eons of cold. Icebergs drift through silent fjords, their forms sculpted by unseen forces. The patterned ground of ancient permafrost tells a story written in ice, a chronicle of the planet's climatic memory. The Arctic's narrative is one of perseverance and transformation. As the sun rises over luminous icebergs, life persists in myriad forms. Reindeer graze beneath the aurora's shifting colours, and Arctic char glide through pristine waters. In this realm of extremes, every adaptation is a triumph, every survival a testament to nature's ingenuity. The enduring spirit of the Arctic compels us to honour its legacy, ensuring that this frozen frontier remains a sanctuary for life and a vital regulator for our shared world. Gap 1s. As the Arctic sun slips beneath the horizon, the world transforms. The last rays of daylight stretch across the ice, painting the snow in fleeting shades of rose and indigo. The temperature drops swiftly, and a profound stillness settles over the frozen expanse. Darkness envelops the islands, yet the silence is alive with anticipation. The moon rises, casting long blue shadows across the snow, while the wind whispers through sculpted drifts and over ancient ice. Suddenly, the heavens ignite. The aurora borealis unfurls in sweeping arcs, its colours shifting from emerald green to violet and gold. Curtains of light ripple and twist, their movement silent yet mesmerising, as if the sky itself is breathing gum. Piatosos. The polar night becomes a living canvas, each moment painted anew by the aurora's ever-changing dance. On the ground, snow crystals catch the aurora's glow, scattering prismatic colours across the tundra. The delicate tracks of an Arctic fox and the silent passage of a snowy owl are illuminated, their presence revealed only by the shimmer of refracted light. The glaciers, fractured and monumental, become radiant sculptures. Ancient ice, layered over millennia, glows with the aurora's hues. Turquoise, amethyst and gold, each crevasse and ridge reflecting the celestial display above. Gap 2s. In these hours, the Arctic's hidden life stirs beneath the shimmering sky. Beneath the ice, narwhals glide through inky waters. Their spiral tusks catch the faint light filtering down, glinting like ancient relics as they navigate the labyrinth beneath the frozen sea. On the tundra, Arctic hares emerge, their white coats blending seamlessly with the moonlit snow. They forage quietly, their movements almost imperceptible, perfectly adapted to the night's chill and the ever-present threat of predators. Along the cliffs, colonies of little auks cluster together, their feathers fluffed against the biting wind. They find warmth in numbers, enduring the cold as the aurora flickers above, casting shifting shadows on the icy ledges. Gap 2s. The Arctic night is a testament to endurance and adaptation, where every creature and every element is shaped by the extremes of this environment. The aurora pulses overhead, its rhythm echoing the deep, slow heartbeat of the Arctic. Each wave of light is a reminder of the powerful unseen forces, solar winds and magnetic fields that sculpt this wilderness. This ancient dance began long before the first explorers gazed in wonder, and it continues, undisturbed, through every polar night. The landscape remains untouched, the sky ablaze with colour, a spectacle reserved for those who endure the Arctic's embrace. Gap 2s. In the profound hush of darkness, the Arctic reveals its most enchanting secret. A beauty born not only of survival, but of the luminous mystery that unites all life beneath the whispering lights. An eternal symphony of ice, light and silence. Gap 1s. Beneath the Arctic's frozen surface, an extraordinary world thrives in silence, shielded from the chaos above by a thick, crystalline ceiling of ancient ice. Here the water is cold and clear, the light faint and blue, filtering down in shimmering ribbons that dance across the sea floor. In this perpetual twilight, life has evolved in remarkable ways. Elusive creatures, some nearly transparent, others cloaked in subtle hues, move with careful precision, perfectly attuned to the rhythm of their icy domain. Above, the aurora borealis paints the sky in shifting colours, while below, faint glimmers of light pierce the ice, illuminating a hidden ballet of survival and adaptation. Gap 2s. Anchored to the rocky seabed, vast forests of kelp sway in the gentle currents. Their long, supple fronds undulate in slow motion, creating a living tapestry that shelters countless forms of life. Nestled among the kelp, amphipods scuttle and sea slugs glide, their bodies adapted to the filtered, icy light. Each frond is a microcosm, alive with movement, tiny crustaceans feeding, mollusks grazing, all part of a delicate web. Schools of Arctic cod weave through the kelp, their silver bodies flashing as they dart between shadows. Their synchronized movements are a silent defense, a choreography honed by generations to evade the ever-present threat of predators. Gap-toos. Clinging to the underside of the ice, intricate blooms of ice algae form emerald and gold mosaics. These filaments, delicate yet resilient, capture the faintest sunlight, transforming it into energy and life. The algae nourish swarms of zooplankton, which drift in the currents like living confetti. These tiny organisms, in turn, sustain larger creatures. Bowhead whales glide through the water, their massive mouths filtering the bounty that flourishes in this hidden world. Gap-toos. For a moment, the water is still, the silence profound. Then a sudden burst of sound ripples through the depths, a chorus of clicks, whistles and pulses. Beluga whales, their pale forms ghost-like in the gloom, navigate the labyrinth beneath the ice. They communicate with a complex language of sounds, each note echoing through the water, mapping the world and connecting the pod. These vocalizations travel far, weaving through the kelp and ice, a symphony of life that only those beneath the surface can perceive. Each call is a message, a thread in the intricate tapestry of Arctic existence. Gap-toos. Near the ocean floor, Greenland sharks glide with ancient patience. Their slow, deliberate movements carry them past corals and sponges that have grown for centuries, forming a living archive of the Arctic's history. These sharks, some older than the ice above, embody the endurance and mystery of the deep. Around them, the seafloor teems with life. Starfish, brittle corals and sponges, each adapted to the cold and darkness. Gap-toos. In the darkest reaches, bioluminescent creatures ignite the water with pulses of blue and green. Tiny jellyfish and plankton glow as they drift, their light a silent signal in the vast, cold expanse. This is the hidden symphony beneath the ice, a realm where every movement, every sound, and every flicker of light composes a masterpiece of survival. Here, silence is not emptiness, but the stage upon which the Arctic's most intricate and beautiful stories unfold, unseen by the world above. Gap-ones. As the relentless grip of the Arctic winter loosens, the landscape awakens beneath a phenomenon both rare and mesmerizing, the midnight sun. Here, above the polar circle, the sun lingers in the sky for weeks, refusing to yield to darkness. The sun hovers just above the horizon, casting a golden radiance that stretches across the islands and ice fields. Every surface glows, bathed in a perpetual daylight that softens the harsh contours of snow and ice. In this extraordinary light, the distinction between day and night dissolves entirely. Time seems suspended, as if the world itself pauses to witness the celestial spectacle. Gap-ones. Across the tundra, mosses and lichens awaken, their surfaces shimmering with dew as they absorb the endless sunlight. Their colours intensify, emerald, ochre and copper, each patch a testament to resilience. Delicate Arctic poppies, their petals thin as parchment, unfurl in the gentle warmth. Each flower turns toward the sun, maximizing every moment of illumination. The blooms sway in the cool, persistent breeze, their yellow and white hues dotting the tundra like scattered jewels, signaling the brief but intense Arctic summer. Gap-toos. Along the fractured shoreline, ice floes drift and shimmer, their crystalline surfaces ablaze with reflected sunlight. The interplay of light and ice creates a mosaic of shifting patterns, ever-changing and ephemeral. Overhead, seabirds glide in effortless arcs, their wings edged in silver by the low sun. They ride the updrafts, scanning the luminous waters for signs of life below. The sea itself sparkles, each wavelet catching the light and scattering it in 1,000 directions. The ocean's surface becomes a living mirror, reflecting the sky's endless glow. Beneath the surface, polar plankton ascend from the depths, drawn by the sun's persistent warmth. Their migration marks the beginning of a new season, fueling the entire Arctic food web. Gap 2s. Sunlight penetrates deep into the pristine Arctic waters, illuminating the translucent forms of jellyfish as they drift in slow, hypnotic motion. Their bells pulse rhythmically, trailing delicate tendrils that cast wavering shadows on the sandy sea floor, each movement a silent ballet in liquid gold. In the glowing currents, narwhals glide with effortless grace. Their streamlined bodies move in synchrony, navigating the illuminated sea with ancient precision. Their spiral tusks, unique and mysterious, catch the sunlight and refract it in shimmering patterns, turning each movement into a silent underwater performance. Gap 2s. With every hour, the Arctic absorbs the sun's energy, transforming from a realm of ice and shadow into a vibrant tapestry of life and colour, unmatched at any other time of year. The land bursts into activity. Mosses, flowers, and countless unseen creatures thrive in the fleeting abundance, each moment a celebration of survival and adaptation. Under the endless daylight, the Arctic world glows with possibility, its ecosystems synchronized in a delicate, sunlit harmony. Gap 2s. Eventually, the sun begins its slow descent, casting elongated shadows across the ice and tundra. The lingering afterglow paints the islands in hues of amber and rose, leaving behind a memory of warmth in this kingdom of ice. As dawn and dusk merge, the cycle of the midnight sun draws to a close, until the Arctic is once again transformed by the return of light. In the remote expanse of the Arctic, immense icebergs and glaciers rise as silent architects, shaping the polar world with a quiet, relentless force. These frozen giants are not merely static monuments, they are dynamic, ever-evolving entities that define the very character of the region. Their origins lie deep within ancient snowfields, where snowfall accumulates year after year. Over centuries, the weight of countless snow layers compresses the lower strata, transforming soft flakes into dense, crystalline, blue ice, a process that locks away the memory of winters long past. Glaciers, vast rivers of ice, inch forward with imperceptible patience. As they advance, they grind across the bedrock, sculpting valleys and gouging deep fjords. Their movement is a slow-motion force, capable of reshaping entire landscapes and leaving behind dramatic geological features that endure for millennia. With the arrival of summer, sunlight awakens the surface of the glaciers. Meltwater rivers meander across the ice, their paths twisting and turning before plunging into yawning crevasses. The sound of water echoing within the glacier is a distant, haunting reminder of the ongoing transformation. At the glacier's terminus, immense slabs of ice fracture and collapse into the sea in a process known as calving. The resulting icebergs, some towering as high as multi-story buildings, drift away, each one a fragment of the glacier's ancient journey. Icebergs reveal only a fraction of their true size above the waterline. Beneath the surface, their submerged masses glide silently, sculpted by currents and tides, their forms shaped by the interplay of temperature and salinity. Encased within the ice are ancient air bubbles, tiny time capsules that preserve the composition of atmospheres from ages past. Scientists study these bubbles to unlock secrets about Earth's climate history, revealing patterns of change that span tens of thousands of years. The surfaces of glaciers and icebergs are adorned with intricate patterns, fractures, striations, and crystalline structures that catch the Arctic light. Each detail is a record of the forces that have shaped the ice, the pressure of movement, the caress of wind, and the subtle warmth of the sun. In this frozen labyrinth, life finds a foothold. Seabirds nest on sheltered ledges carved by wind and ice, while seals rest on drifting floes, their presence a testament to the resilience of Arctic wildlife in an environment sculpted by ice. As icebergs drift southward, carried by powerful currents, they become floating reservoirs of minerals and nutrients. Their slow melting enriches the surrounding waters, creating zones of productivity in the otherwise nutrient-poor Arctic Ocean. In the wake of these icy travellers, plankton blooms flourish, forming the foundation of the Arctic food web. Fish and whales are drawn to these nutrient-rich waters, following the icebergs on their long migration across the sea. The Arctic landscape is in constant flux. Time-lapse reveals the ceaseless transformation of ice, glaciers advancing and retreating, icebergs carving and melting, the entire region shaped by cycles of creation and destruction. Beneath the midnight sun and the endless polar night, the story of Arctic ice is one of profound transformation and enduring strength. These silent architects continue their work, shaping the land and sea, holding within them the chronicles of Earth's distant past and the promise of its future. Gap Ones. Beneath the endless shimmering expanse of Arctic ice, a world of astonishing complexity unfolds, one that remains hidden from the human eye, yet orchestrates the rhythm of life across this frozen frontier. The sculpted faces of glaciers, carved by millennia of relentless cold, stand as silent sentinels above a realm where water is in constant, unseen motion. Here, powerful ocean currents surge beneath the ice, forming an invisible web that binds the Arctic together, an intricate network that shapes the fate of every living thing in these polar waters. These currents, silent and tireless, are the architects of the Arctic's hidden vitality, sculpting the underwater landscape and dictating the movement of nutrients, heat, and life itself. Like vast, unseen rivers, they wind their way beneath the frozen surface, threading through labyrinthine channels and weaving connections between distant continents. These pathways are not random. They're shaped by the interplay of temperature, salinity, and the shifting geometry of sea ice, creating a dynamic tapestry that pulses with energy. Within these deep blue corridors, the heartbeat of the polar sea is sustained, as water masses travel vast distances, carrying with them the essential ingredients for life. Gap Ones. In the profound darkness of the Arctic depths, cold, dense water, formed at the surface by freezing winds, sinks and glides along the ocean floor, tracing ancient routes carved by the planet's rotation and the pull of gravity. As it descends, this water is laden with oxygen and nutrients gathered from the surface and carried into the abyss, nourishing the deep-sea ecosystem. Where currents converge and swirl, they stir the ocean's layers, mixing ancient waters with the new and setting the stage for a remarkable transformation. The turbulence lifts sediments from the seabed, remnants of long-lost eras, releasing minerals and organic matter that have lain dormant for centuries. This infusion awakens a hidden world of microscopic life. Phytoplankton and bacteria, the foundation of the Arctic food web, begin to flourish in the nutrient-rich waters. In the dim twilight beneath the ice, where sunlight barely penetrates, these tiny organisms harness every available photon, transforming the water into a living tapestry. Suddenly, plankton blooms erupt in spectacular abundance, their numbers multiplying in response to the influx of nutrients and the gradual return of light. The water becomes painted with clouds of green and gold as diatoms and algae drift in mesmerizing patterns, each cell a vital link in the Arctic's chain of life. This planktonic surge is the spark that ignites the entire ecosystem, providing sustenance for a myriad of creatures that depend on these microscopic marvels. Tiny crustaceans, such as copepods and amphipods, feast on the plankton, their delicate bodies perfectly adapted to filter and graze in the frigid water. These crustaceans, in turn, become the primary food source for swarms of Arctic cod, which weave through the dense kelp forests and icy channels below, forming a crucial bridge between the microscopic and the mighty. Gap 2s. Above this bustling world, narwhals and belugas navigate the ever-shifting maze of ice, their streamlined bodies moving with effortless grace through the labyrinthine passages. Their haunting calls reverberate through the water, echoing like ethereal music in a vast frozen cathedral, guiding pods through the darkness and helping them locate prey. The currents shepherd immense schools of fish and drifting legions of jellyfish, each species following ancient migratory routes shaped by the flow of water and the shifting seasons. Jellyfish, their translucent bells pulsing with rhythmic precision, drift in the cold blue light, capturing plankton and small fish with their trailing tentacles. Along the seafloor, ghostly anemones extend their delicate arms, while brittle stars glide silently through forests of soft coral, each movement a testament to the abundance delivered by the currents. The seafloor teems with life, sponges, worms and mollusks, all nourished by the steady, life-giving flow of nutrient-rich water. Gap 2s. Even the Arctic's largest inhabitants are bound to this invisible web. Bowhead whales, ancient giants that have roamed these waters for centuries, follow the shifting currents in search of sustenance. They arrive as the plankton blooms reach their peak, feasting on the dense clouds of life that gather in the nutrient-rich waters. With each sweep of their baleen, bowheads filter millions of tiny organisms from the sea, sustaining their immense bodies on the bounty provided by the currents. On the ice above, the Arctic fox moves with silent precision, its keen senses attuned to the subtle rhythms of the tides and the promise of prey. The fox knows that the movement of water beneath the ice brings seals to the surface, each breathing hole a vital link in the chain of survival. Every action, every life, intricately connected. The Arctic food web is a tapestry of interdependence, where the fate of each species is woven into the fabric of the whole, and every thread is sustained by the ceaseless movement of water. Gap 2s. The Arctic's invisible currents are the silent conductors of a hidden symphony, orchestrating the cycles of growth, migration, and renewal that define this extraordinary ecosystem. They shape the seasons, sculpt the ever-changing sea ice, and ensure the survival of countless species that depend on their unwavering flow. In this realm, where the surface reveals only endless ice and snow, the true engine of life lies hidden below, in the perpetual dance of water and salt. It is here, in the mysterious depths, that the Arctic's resilience is forged, where unseen forces sustain the delicate balance of life. The ancient, ceaseless movement of water and salt beneath the ice is the lifeblood of this world, a force as enduring as the polar night. And so, beneath the frozen veil, the Arctic's invisible web endures, sustaining, connecting and shaping life in one of Earth's most enigmatic and awe-inspiring frontiers. Gap 1s. Amid the stark, icy wilderness of the Arctic, where towering glaciers and endless snowfields reign, life clings to the most unlikely of places. Here, in the frozen silence, a hidden world of plant pioneers quietly transforms rock and soil into living carpets of green and gold. These are the mosses and lichens, unsung architects of the Arctic's resilience, and the first to colonize the harshest corners of this polar expanse. Close-up visuals reveal velvety moss cushions, their emerald hues glowing against frost-blackened stones. Interwoven with them, lichens form intricate mosaics, splashes of sulphur yellow, silver grey and burnt orange, painting the ancient rocks with patterns as old as time itself. Unlike the towering forests of temperate lands, these miniature plants thrive where few others can, enduring relentless cold, biting winds, and a sun that vanishes for months on end. Mosses, with their simple, leaf-like structures, are masters of survival. They can freeze solid in the heart of winter, their cells protected by special sugars and proteins that prevent ice from shattering their delicate forms. When the brief Arctic summer arrives, they awaken with the first trickle of meltwater, drawing moisture from the thawing ground and springing back to life in a matter of hours. Each tiny stem acts as a sponge, capturing every drop of precious water and storing it for the dry weeks ahead. Lichens, an ancient alliance between fungus and algae, are even more extraordinary. These symbiotic survivors can photosynthesize at temperatures just above freezing, and some species endure total desiccation, curling into brittle fragments until the next mist or rain. Their slow, patient growth etches the passage of centuries onto bare rock, gradually breaking it down and forming the first fragile soils of the Arctic tundra. Visuals transition to sweeping shots of tundra plains, where mosses and lichens form patchwork blankets across the land. Their presence is vital. They insulate the soil, trap warmth, and provide the foundation for all other plant life. In turn, they offer sustenance to miniature grazers, springtails, mites, and even the mighty muskox, whose diet relies on these tenacious greens when winter's grasp is tightest. As the seasons shift, the Arctic's plant world responds in a delicate choreography. In summer, a burst of life erupts. Tiny flowers bloom among mossy hummocks, pollinated by the hum of hardy insects. When autumn's chill returns, these plants slow their growth, preparing to endure another cycle of darkness and cold. Through it all, the mosses and lichens persist, their quiet tenacity a testament to the power of adaptation. In the grand narrative of the Arctic, it is these humble plants that anchor the ecosystem, forging life where none should exist. Their resilience, written in every cell, echoes the enduring spirit of the polar world, a reminder that even in the harshest places on Earth, life finds a way to endure, adapt, and flourish. Beneath the fractured armour of Arctic sea ice lies another world, one hidden from sunlight, yet teeming with life beyond imagination. As the camera plunges below the frozen surface, the light fades to a dusky blue, revealing a realm where the rules of survival are rewritten in darkness and cold. Here, sprawling forests of kelp sway gently in the frigid currents, their golden ribbons stretching toward the faint shimmer above. Small fish, like Arctic cod, weave through the kelp's sheltering blades, their silvery scales flickering in the dim light. These fish are lifelines for countless predators, their antifreeze proteins allowing them to thrive in water colder than ice itself. Descending further, the world transforms. The seafloor is a tapestry of life. Soft corals, sea anemones and sponges cling to rocky outcrops, their delicate forms illuminated by bioluminescent flashes. Suddenly, a ghostly shape glides past, a deep-sea jellyfish, its bell pulsing with blue and violet light. It drifts silently, tentacles trailing like ribbons, hunting for plankton in the inky depths. Amidst the darkness, strange creatures emerge. The Arctic skate, with its flattened body and wing-like fins, glides effortlessly over the seabed, while the elusive Greenland shark meanders through the gloom. This ancient predator, slow-moving and nearly blind, can live for centuries, its secrets locked away in the silence of the deep. The camera lingers on a hydrothermal vent where mineral-laden water spews from the ocean floor. Around these vents, life flourishes in defiance of the cold swarms of tube worms, and ghostly amphipods cluster in the mineral-rich currents, feeding on chemosynthetic bacteria that transform volcanic gases into nourishment. Here, in perpetual night, life is powered not by sunlight, but by the heat and chemistry of the Earth itself. Elsewhere, amphipods and brittle stars scuttle across the mud, while delicate sea butterflies flutter through the water column, their translucent wings catching the faintest glimmers of light. Above them, narwhals and belugas navigate the labyrinth of ice flows, their calls echoing through the water, reminders of the connection between surface and deep. The Arctic's underwater ecosystems are a study in adaptation and endurance. Every creature, from the smallest copepod to the ancient Greenland shark, is shaped by the challenges of this extreme environment, piercing cold, crushing pressure, and endless night. Yet life persists, innovating, evolving, and thriving in the shadows. As the camera slowly rises toward the shimmering underbelly of the ice, the hidden symphony of the Arctic deep fades into silence. The secrets of this abyssal frontier remain for now just out of reach, whispering of a world as rich and complex as the one above, and every bit as vital to the story of the Arctic. Above the endless white, a miracle unfolds each year, one written not in ice or shadow, but in the beating of wings and the call of distant horizons. This is the saga of the Arctic's migratory birds, a journey of epic scale, determination, and survival. The camera sweeps across the tundra as the snow begins to melt, revealing the first hints of green. From the south, flocks appear on the horizon, knots of movement in the sky growing larger with every passing day. Long-tailed jaegers, elegant Arctic terns, and plump sandpipers ride the updrafts, their wings slicing through the cold air. Some have flown for thousands of kilometres, crossing continents and oceans, guided by instinct, the stars, and the subtle pull of the magnetic field. Arctic terns, the champions of migration, glide effortlessly above the waves. From Antarctica to the Arctic and back again, they complete the longest migration of any animal on Earth, over 70,000 kilometres each year. The camera follows their flight, tracing a path over storm-lashed seas, sunlit coasts, and icy mountain passes. In their wake, red knots and sanderlings skim the shorelines, pausing briefly to feed before pressing onward. Reaching the Arctic, the birds spread out across the vast tundra where the brief summer offers a bounty of life. Here the ground pulses with energy. Insects hatch in clouds, seeds burst from the thawing soil, and shallow pools teem with invertebrates. The birds waste no time, pairing off and building nests on mossy hummocks, rocky ledges and gravel bars. Their calls fill the air, sharp, joyous, urgent, as they defend territories and care for fragile eggs. The camera lingers on a downy chick, newly hatched, blinking at the midnight sun. It is a race against time. Summer in the Arctic is fleeting, and every moment counts. Parents work tirelessly, darting across the tundra to gather food, their vigilance unwavering against prowling foxes and circling gulls. As the days shorten, a subtle restlessness stirs. The young test their wings, stretching and fluttering in the cool breeze. With the first hints of frost, the great departure begins. Once again, the sky is alive with movement, streaming ribbons of birds, each following ancient routes imprinted in their very being. The journey is perilous. Storms rage over the open sea, and food grows scarce. Yet, guided by memory, instinct, and the invisible pathways of the earth, the birds press onward, across continents, back to distant southern lands where warmth and sustenance await. In this endless cycle of departure and return, the Arctic's migratory birds are both voyagers and guardians. Their journeys knit together the world's wild places, carrying the spirit of the Arctic across hemispheres and back again, an unbroken thread of life, resilience, and hope. The Arctic has always been a land of extremes, of biting cold, endless night and fleeting summer. But now a new force is reshaping this ancient wilderness, climate change. The camera glides over a fractured sea of ice, where once solid flows drift apart, leaving open water in their wake. Satellite imagery overlays the screen, revealing the shrinking footprint of Arctic ice over the past decades, a stark contrast between past and present. On the tundra, the ground itself is changing. Permafrost, once locked in a frozen embrace, now thaws and cracks, releasing ancient gases into the air. The camera closes in on a patch of earth, steam rising as methane bubbles to the surface, an invisible engine accelerating the warming. Wildlife, too, faces a shifting reality. A polar bear, lean and restless, paces along a narrowing strip of ice. The hunt for seals grows ever more desperate as the ice retreats farther from shore. In the distance, a walrus herd crowds a rocky beach, forced onto land as their traditional haul-out sites vanish beneath the waves. Drone footage captures the chaotic crush as space and resources dwindle. The story is not just of loss, but of adaptation. The Arctic fox, once a master of snow camouflage, is challenged by the northward advance of the red fox, a new competitor for food and territory. Caribou herds, their migration routes disrupted by unpredictable weather, struggle to find safe passage across thawing rivers and unstable snow. Above, the skies are quieter. Some migratory birds arrive too early or too late, their ancient rhythms thrown off by a warming world. The camera follows a flock of geese, circling over a nesting ground now submerged by rising water. Yet, amid the uncertainty, life endures. Scientists, bundled against the chill, deploy sensors and drones, measuring, recording and seeking solutions. Indigenous communities, whose knowledge stretches back generations, share stories of change and resilience, guiding efforts to protect what remains. In the fading light, the Arctic stands at a crossroads. Its fate, and that of its wild inhabitants, now depends on choices made far beyond the ice. The camera lingers on a melting glacier, water cascading into the sea, a silent reminder that the edge of tomorrow is not yet written, and hope lies in the actions we take today. Beneath the icy silence and windswept tundra, the Arctic holds a secret older than the ice itself, a story etched in stone and sculpted by time. To understand the Arctic's present, we must journey millions of years into its geological past, when the world was unrecognizable. The scene opens with a sweeping visualization of Earth during the late Precambrian era. Vast continents drift, colliding and splitting apart, their movements slow but relentless. The supercontinent Rodinia fragments and ancient seas lap at newborn coastlines. The camera dives beneath the waves, revealing volcanic eruptions along underwater ridges, birthing new land in the chill of the Proto-Arctic Ocean. Eons pass in a heartbeat. The landmass now known as Greenland rises, forged by immense tectonic forces. Time-lapse imagery shows mountain ranges buckling skyward, then worn down by the unyielding hand of erosion. The islands of Svalbard, once buried beneath tropical seas, emerge, layers of fossilized coral and ancient marine life telling tales of climates long vanished. The narration synchronizes as glaciers begin to form. The Pleistocene epoch dawns and temperatures plummet. The camera pans over a barren landscape as snow accumulates year after year, compacting into vast, slow-moving rivers of ice. Glaciers grind across the land, carving fjords, valleys, and deep basins. In their wake, they leave behind moraines and erratic boulders, a stony record of their passage. We descend into an icy crevasse, the walls revealing bands of sediment and compressed air bubbles, each layer a frozen archive of atmospheric history. The voiceover continues as the visuals shift. Glaciers advance and retreat in cycles, sculpting the island's rugged coastlines and depositing sediments that will one day nurture mosses and lichens. The camera glides over newly exposed shorelines as the last ice age ends. Meltwater rivers rush across the tundra, shaping deltas and wetlands. Islands like Wrangel and Ellesmere take their modern form, their bedrock scarred by the scars of ancient glaciers. Above, the midnight sun glimmers on crystalline peaks. The Arctic's geological blueprint is revealed not only in stone, but in the living landscape, a testament to the forces that shaped it across the ages. Every ridge, every valley, every sheet of ice is a chapter in the ongoing saga of Earth's restless creation. As the scene fades, the Arctic stands silent and eternal, its deep-time origins hidden beneath the snow, reminding us that the land itself is as dynamic and alive as any creature that calls it home. Beneath the frozen stillness, the Arctic is alive with invisible threads, an intricate tapestry of life woven by predator and prey, each strand vital to the ecosystem's balance. The scene opens with a slow, sweeping aerial shot over a snow-blanketed tundra. Below, a herd of musk oxen grazes on hidden patches of sedge, their breath steaming in the frigid air. The camera glides lower, revealing a solitary Arctic wolf shadowing the herd, its movements cautious and calculated. As the wolf tests the herd's defences, narration synchronizes with the tense standoff. Every decision, every step, a matter of survival for both hunter and hunted. Cut to the icy coastline, where a ringed seal surfaces through a breathing hole. Above, the silent shadow of a polar bear circles, its patience honed by countless failed hunts. The bear's powerful paws break the silence, plunging through the ice in a burst of energy. The seal vanishes in a blur, escaping into the labyrinth below. The balance is delicate. Too many missed hunts, and the bear weakens. Too few seals, and the ecosystem falters. Beneath the ice, the camera follows a cloud of Arctic cod weaving through crystalline water. They dart between the fingers of drifting kelp, feeding on copepods and zooplankton. Tiny creatures sustained by the bloom of phytoplankton that erupts each summer when sunlight returns. The cod, in turn, become prey for seals, seabirds and narwhals, their fate inextricably linked to the pulse of the sun and the rhythm of the seasons. On distant cliffs, thousands of thick-billed muries and kittiwakes wheel above the sea, their cries echoing off ancient stone. They dive with precision, snatching up caplin and small fish, while Arctic foxes prowl the rocky ledges below, scavenging eggs and unwary chicks. The camera lingers on the fox's keen gaze, a testament to adaptability in a world where every meal is hard-won. As the Arctic summer wanes, the scene shifts to the open ocean. Bowhead whales glide beneath the surface, their vast mouths filtering plankton-rich waters. Above, a pod of orcas patrols, apex predators whose presence ripples through the food web, shaping the behavior of seals, whales and fish alike. The narration synchronizes with a visual web, lines connecting phytoplankton to zooplankton, to fish, to birds and mammals, and back again. The camera reveals how each life, from the microscopic to the mighty, is bound to the next in a cycle of nourishment, predation, and renewal. Yet, this balance is fragile. A shift in sea ice, a change in temperature, and the threads can unravel. The Arctic's food web is a living testament to interdependence, where the fate of one echoes through all. As the music fades, the camera pulls back to reveal the vast, interconnected wilderness. Each species a vital note in the Arctic's enduring symphony of survival.